So let me invite John. All right, there we go. I'm going to invite John up. All right, John, what's going on?
Yo,
Yo.
what's happening?
How you living?
Like Thanksgiving, man.
Awesome.
I'm chilling. I've been trying to, I'm sitting there watching you on TikTok. I had to get out of the car by then. I should get back in the car so we can have a better conversation. What's up, man?
What's happening?
I fucking made it.
World?
Hey, I'm doing it well. I said, Greg was asking me all these questions. Greg Wright was asking me all these questions that day. I said, ask me on the live, bro.
Exactly. So what are you? So here's what I want to know. Everyone's always talking to me about what you did on the court. I want to know what you're doing now off the court. And I also want to know what you're doing in that investing world, because I know you were at that event in Georgia,
yeah,
and you were wearing that shirt, assets over liabilities. And as a former investment banker and a guy that loves making money, I want to find out where your mindset at and what you're doing there.
So Invest Fast, I love my guys at Earn Your Leisure, Rashad and Troy, and more. What do you call it? Health and wellness. Because without wellness, if you don't have your health, you don't have wealth. Somebody else will have the wealth. So, I got on their show and we talk about all these different things. They want to talk basketball. They want to talk, I guess, what's the best way to say it? They want to talk basketball. They want to talk different TV shows and movies I've been in. But when I'm talking to young cats, I always let them know, because I made all the mistakes. I bought the Rolls Royces. I had more chains on my neck than Mr. T. I did all of that craziness. And when I talk to them now, I go, hey, if I could do it all over again, what would I do different? Yes, I would have a trust. I love that they pushing people to have trust. And I think the conversation with people of color, I'm going to say it that way, has been so different because we've always made just enough money to be rich, and wealthy is forever. Mm-hmm. And so if I can get in there and bring any positive feeling from my past, any advice, I got kids in their 30s, I got in their 20s, and so if I can give any advice, I will give that advice. I know exactly what landmines to miss, what area to go in that has landmines. Don't just step over them. Don't walk through that entire area. You know what I'm saying? If you don't walk through the area, you don't have to worry about where you
What's
step.
one of your biggest landmines you would tell people to avoid?
Trying to impress people you don't know.
That's good. I thought for sure you were going to talk about your health, because what's interesting about this, John, and you and I haven't known each other very long, but my wife was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer about 2 months ago, and I'm 61 years old. She's older than I am, and I've been very fortunate. I have never been to the doctor. I've never had a reason to go to the doctor. Now I've been healthy, and I'm like, you know what? I've had a lot of success, a lot of failures, a lot of success, and I'm like, for the first time ever, I'm like, okay, health. My wife, there's no cancer in her family. And we're like, okay, we're looking at this. I'm looking at what you're doing with the vegan and going down that, and some of your supplements and some of that stuff. I'm like,
I can tell you right now, there's no cancer in anybody's family. Cancer is the name they give for dis-ease, which you call disease, right? And cancer is the name they give for free radical cells that don't want to work with the harmonious way your body has been working. I don't heal anybody, but I help people heal. So if your wife wants to heal, when we get off, and I can tell you now, if your wife wants to heal, I can assist in helping her heal. But Jesus said, walking down the street in Damascus, a man who was crippled on the ground said, Lord, Lord, heal me. And he said, do you believe I can heal you? He said, yes. He said, then you are healed, because it's the matter of believing. So the first thing I got to ask, because I asked this to some people, they think I'm crazy when I would ask that. I go, do you want to live? And then, of course I want to live. I said, it's not of course, because you've been doing everything to get you into this position. So do you want to live? And they go, yeah. I said, how bad do you want to live? Would you do whatever it takes to live? And they go, yeah. Would you cancel everything just to live? And they go, everything? And then that's the answer. People won't do what it takes.
Right.
We live in a country of called easy. Those are the two letters. Most people are into things that are easy. And they didn't realize the easy way, oh my God, I want to hurry up and get something to eat. Oh my God, I got to get something quick to put in the kid's mouth. And they're giving their kids poison, not realizing every time they give them fast food, that's fast death. So,
the way you said that makes me think.
Man,
I was doing I teach mindset on all my trainings. And today I taught the difference between being interested in completing your goals and being committed to attaining your goals. Yeah. And you just said it a different way, right? Because it's like if you want to
way sexier than you, but yeah.
John, how about,
don't hold back like that. Tell me how you really feel.
How long have you been vegan?
I can. So this is the deal. Like, I'm known, and it's so funny. I met with these young guys. They got a great truck here in downtown LA called Burger Guys. And when they met me, they were like, yo, you mad cool. We heard you were a mean vegan. And I guess I used to be one of those guys that made you feel bad about your choice in food. Because, I didn't, I still snap on guys and whatever. And I had to learn decorum. And I did, I had to learn bedside manner. That's something you have to learn. So I put it differently, because my mother was a kosher caterer. I ate everything. I used to go fishing with her. When I was 14, 15, 16, I'm in Sheephead Bay going deep sea fishing, eating bluefish, doing it all. I took my brother fishing when I played down in Miami. We went mackerel fishing. He was like, man, called my mother when she was alive because I caught the biggest fish. Why you never took me fishing? This was fun. Until I found out that I was eating 100% parasites.
What? Yeah.
And I didn't know that, because a fish is a parasite. And inside of it is a parasite. So one of the things, Greg, I would say about, one, I would get the diagnosis from what your doctors say your wife is going through, and then have the conversation with your wife, and then we would make the changes necessary, and then that would be a testimony. So right now, within the company, the 17 cancer survivors. We have one that was stage 4 colon rectal cancer, no longer has any cancer within his body. Right. Now, we just made recommendations. That's what I got to say, so they don't shut me down.
All right, we'll talk about that afterwards for sure, because that's what she has. And I appreciate that, because, again, like I said, when you're in that world, you're in the world. When you're not in the world, you're not in the world. And I haven't been in that health world, so
and they scare.
And like you, the fear storms are just off the charts.
Yeah, it's what your body is doing is perfect. If your body has cancer in it, it's telling your body, hey, there's a problem here, and this is the section. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're gonna send in SWAT, and then we're gonna send in the A team, and we're going to move it properly. And then when it happens, you can bring me back on live, and you can pat the company on the back, and it's all free. Tell me about your company, John.
Tell me about your company real quick. And then, by the way, everybody, the reason we're doing this is I wanted to help John. He's new on TikTok, and we want to get him over 1,000 followers. So you got to make sure John Salley 22. You have to follow him on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, but tell us about the company.
So, you go to johnsalley.com. I started a thing called Better Life Products. And so one of my first products is called Better Belly, BETTA. Better eating today, tomorrow, always. Bring energy to the area. That's exactly what it's about. And I use better because, Spike is my man, and we had the Mo Better Blues, and somebody had already had the word better. And I knew it was good. And I said, your way of doing things may be good, mine is better. And I started finding out these products, and I found this one product with this great Dr. Young, this Korean doctor in Koreatown here in Los Angeles. And there you go. Oh man, I love G. And what he's done is he literally gave me something that changed my brother's life when he had prostate cancer. My brother had like 5 different cancers. He left Los Angeles with one, which was prostate cancer. And if he wouldn't have had to leave, he would have been cancer free without getting, they didn't have to take his prostate out. We got it that far. And that's all we were doing. We're helping the body remove free radical cells. That's the only way I'm saying it. I'm not a cure of cancer. I just help the body and help the person realize that free radical cells are the problem.
Well, and that goes with every disease, right? It's all those carcinogens that we're getting from all of the processed foods that we eat. And then one of our other clients for Launch Cart is, and you might even know her, you know Cancer Schmancer, Fran Drescher?
Yes, I do.
You know the nanny, right? Everyone knows the nanny, and she's all about the carcinogens that are in your underarm, you know, your deodorant, your chemicals, and all the stuff you have in your house.
Yeah, I got a deodorant coming.
Yeah, you got to get all that stuff out, right? So
you got to, and it's funny because it's kind of hard because we're surrounded, Greg, and Robbie, with all of these things: the air, the tap water. Like everybody goes, hey, we got the best water in this. Like all the New Yorkers say, hey, the New York water is the best water, not realizing that the same pipes have been the same pipes for the past 70 years or more. So how could you clean compared to what? And why would you trust them telling you they're clean when the streets in New York are filled with rats, right?
Yeah.
And they always have been.
Yeah.
So you gotta think past or stop thinking the government won't do something to you. You gotta stop thinking that.
Yeah,
facts.
no,
Facts, John, facts.
And you can't blame them. You got to take responsibility for your life. I just bought one of those $5,000 Kangen water machines. It's incredible.
Can you return it?
You know what? Well, I don't know why. You have a better one?
Yeah.
Oh, you
really?
Okay.
What do you recommend?
I recommend spring water with Celtic sea salt.
Okay, spring water with Celtic sea salt.
Yes.
Is it a bottled water?
Yeah, you want to get spring water. You don't So the first things first, and I'm not talking against Kagan. I don't speak against anybody. I speak for wellness, and from what I learned, and listening to the teachings of the great Dr. Sebi. Listen, my main teacher would be Dick Gregory, because Dick Gregory was talking this since the 70s. Had a brother named Dr. Goss who started New Body Herbs, 1972. Dr. Jewel Pookrum, who first put me in the game, 1991, who explained that I was full of I was full of seriously harmful intestinal toxins, and you take the letters from that. I was full of shit. So, and now I have a great practitioner named Dr. Dini at Inner Health, INNER, Inner Health Center in Tarzana on Tampa, hyperbaric chamber, colonics, infrared sauna, tons of products, AO scan, explaining what's going on in your life, all of those things. And we bring them here. I just met with Dr. Ronnie yesterday via phone. My frat brother Maurice is her husband. They're in Martha's Vineyard. This morning I had a conversation with Chef Akai down in Belize. I work with my guy Doug. I hung out with Doug Evans and Mike Posner, who is Doug Evans. I just watched him on TikTok and I got in touch with him. That's why TikTok is such an amazing thing.
Wow.
And he's the sprout expert. And he put out the Sprout book, and I started reading more and more about sprouts. But way back in the 90s, I started getting into enzymes, digestive enzymes, systemic enzymes, and just helping the body, because we've been attacked with easy way of living. You know, if you don't pay attention, you go to sleep at the wheel, and you can't do that. My mother came in. I got a place where I brought people. It's called Solaire. It used to be called Global Cardio Care with my girl Sarah, and now her brother Mo, who is running the business, called Solaire, SOULAIRE foundation. I literally can get you on a machine, which I would put your wife on this machine, Greg, and it literally is a EECP machine, and it helps push the blood back through. It clears old arteries, makes new arteries, gets blood back into your system. It literally changes the way your life is. Yeah. And so what I started doing, Robbie, I'm going to hire you, man. What I started doing is bringing people to these different places, because I knew if we were in one place, we can be shut down. And so I took on the same mentality as in the Matrix. And I say this to people, I'm not trying to be anybody but Johnny Salley, but Morpheus said, you know, I had to apologize to Neo, because we don't usually wake people up after a certain time because their brain is too hard letting go. And a lot of people came up, I heard guys say, man, my grandmother was eating pork her whole life and she lived to 90. You not your grandmother. And, and I can bet you your uncles and this and it, they all passed. Why didn't they have that same mentality? So you can be clean. You could know that you're gaining weight every year. In 1989, I was 250 pounds. In 2023, I'm 242 pounds. Now, how did I get lighter over 33 years or 34 years? How did that happen? Well, it's because I figured out how not to damage this beautiful Mustang Salley. It's a 1964 classic Mustang. I love that. I didn't put any rims on it. I don't even have dice hanging from the windshield, bro. I just kept it. I kept it sexy. And when I did that, I made it. They said, well, you can gain weight. Well, imagine your veins and your arteries are going straight up and down. And now when you add weight, you're stretching them out. And you're closing them off. And the thinner that your veins become, the higher your pressure of blood becomes. So this new show, that's when Greg was talking about it, I'm doing this new show called Legend to Legend, which is going to be sports and all that. But then the next one is going to be about health and wellness. And I'm bringing on everybody from TikTok that I have seen and it resonated with me. I'm bringing on doctors that don't live this lifestyle to explain the body if they can. I'm bringing on chefs, nutritionists. It's going to be like the doctors, just with me. And I was on the doctors 4 or 5 times. They gave me a great platform. But, you know, they weren't going to hire me because, you know, their advertisers are Carl's Jr.'s, McDonald's, Burger King.
Right. Or Big Pharma.
Right. You know, that's their sponsors. So I literally am doing a show out of my own pocket and putting it on this platform of TikTok and Instagram.
I think I lost him.
I don't hear him anymore either.
Yeah. Hey, John, we can't hear you. John, we can't hear you.
Something happened to the audio.
Oh.
Man, I had...
Somebody said sound conflict of interest.
You're back now.
I even have a chef of Soulicious. What's up, chef? How are you? She's one of the best. This is the first cooking show I've ever wanted to put out. Now, I wanted to do a cooking show, and then I saw her. So make sure you go on Soulicious to pay attention on what's happening. She's going to be my first cooking show that I've been trying to sell forever. But as soon as we get this platform going, it got to the point, Greg, you asked me what was I doing, and I told you to wait. So I got involved with a platform called Monetize, and I became a partner in Monetize, where the audience gets paid to watch, and you can now go on Monetize, and Monetize can put you on all 5 platforms. The situation we just had on TikTok, we would never have, because one of the first things you would do, Zulima 2.0 also is watching us. She's amazing, and you got to follow her. And I watched her. I watched her go from Florida at one thing, move out to LA, deal with the bull in LA, and now I told her, I said, I seen your transformation. That's the best thing, is to see people living their life, humans being human.
Yeah.
And as Deepak would say, human beings human. And that's the best thing. She went, gained weight, had whatever drama, got back in her brain, said, I need to eat fruit and work out. Now she got her body back, working back out. Now she's back to her happy. Happiness is a choice. And I watched her do it. So I watch these people. I get in touch with them through Instagram. I did this on Monetize. Why? I'm going into Monetize. You guys can go check it out. It's MONYTIZE. Monetize. And one of our first, we got our original shows on of Irv Gotti, the behind the scenes of the making of the movie. It is one of the dopest things. And the reason I got it, because every time I was going to go on the other people, I'm not going to say their name because I don't like advertising for them. I'd rather have my own, knowing I can't be put off.
Nice.
No, that's the craziest thing. I don't like that. Right, where it pays your social. That's what Monetize is doing. And you can't put me off because I'm an owner. So when I say something, I'm going to say it. Another thing, I won't say things I don't know. If you ask me a question I don't know, I'll get the answer.
100%.
Yeah, I'll get the answer, and I'll get the truthful answer. I had a friend, I don't like saying this, she tried the plant-based diet. It did not work well with her. She did it for a certain amount of years. It did not work well with her. And I got to say, not all humans are the same.
Yeah.
Right? But she doesn't want to be a part of the murder and mutilation of a sentient being. You guys call it eating animals. And as you see, I also got involved in tequila, baby, because you got it. This shit is so stressful. You got to eat. You got to. So La Conecta is coming up. La Conecta is coming soon.
I really want to help you blow up the on the branding side and on the e-commerce side, which is my big skill set. And Robbie too, he's a digital marketing expert. And I look at what you have and listening to the story, and I didn't really, you and I, when we met, we didn't get a chance to talk that deep about it. I'm like, I had no idea you were this deep into health. And I got my mom, I tell people my mom invented the salad factory, the salad bar. She started a restaurant called the Salad Factory in 1974.
Wow.
And it was a salad bar, and we had a line of cartoon characters called the Nutrishkins, Emily Enzyme, Victor Beta Carotene, and a whole line of cartoon characters. And anyway, I've been taking supplements and enzymes my whole life, which is probably why I've never had to visit the doctor and had any serious illnesses. But that I think is just fantastic what you're doing, and your credibility. And that's one of the things that Robbie and I were talking about. Going, you look at the mentality that takes for a professional athlete to achieve the levels that you've achieved on the multiple teams you've achieved it on, and then you see how you transfer that mentality and mindset and work ethic into this business, into this health stuff, because you want to serve people and you want to help people, and you want to help people with the most valuable thing in the world, and that's their health, right? So I want to help support you in that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, same here. I'm ordering a few of these too when we get off. So
yeah, and this is I'm making that just gets you in. This is what I tell people. I was a part of Beyond Meat, and I met Ethan from my friend Beth Moskowitz. She introduced me to Ethan at Beyond Meat back in 2009, and 9 years later, we were at the New York Stock Exchange going public.
Wow!
And in 2019. Beyond Meat became the unicorn. It went from to $265 from $17. And if I was smart enough, and that's what I mean, I learn as I go, because everybody is learning as they go. Trust me, as they go to death, right? Because the one thing guaranteed, Maya Angelou said, is she became fearless when she admitted to herself that she was going to die. And from that point on, she knew that was a guarantee. She did everything she could until then. So that's my mentality. And I'm trying, everybody every day is not just trying to make money. I'm trying to live longer. I'm trying to get to the next day. And so I decided I was going to live till 122 years old. It was my decision.
I love the way you
It's my
Only
decision.
122.
122.
You got something. You got something with those numbers, 22, don't you?
That's right, man. Everything is deuces, brother.
That's right.
My grandmother lived to 118.
Wow.
Yeah, my mother was so happy that, you know, back when you used to watch the Today Show and they would tell you about everybody that was ascended. Today they're 105. She was 118, and I was like, if she could live in 118 and she was born in 1800s, I should be able to live to 200.
Yeah,
the way technology is right now.
That's a fact right there.
But this is funny, Greg. You grew up in this lifestyle, not realizing you grew up in this lifestyle. Like, and that happens to a lot of people. Like they grow up that way, but then it gets easier to go to Ruth's Steakhouse. It gets easier to go, I shouldn't have mentioned the name, to a steakhouse. It gets easier to eat that and not feel like you in anybody's place or in anybody's way. You understand what I'm saying? That is the best part of it. And when you do it that way, you already know the enzymes. You're
Yeah. No, exactly. No, you know what I call it? I call it the law of exposure, right? So I'm writing a book called The Law of Exposure, and it's like you don't know what you don't know. And everybody should spend their life exposing themselves to new concepts, new philosophies, new books, new ways of life, new cultures, new thought processes, and it'll really have an impact on your life. So the law of exposure. And again, going back to what you've been exposed to, and I was exposed to Dr. Wallach. Do you know Dr. Wallach?
Yeah.
Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
What? I got Dr. Wallach's book, man. I've started reading it, changed everything in the world in Dr. Wallach. Everybody, check out this book. What's the
Dead
I read
Doctors
it every night.
Don't Lie?
Yes. Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Wallet or Dr. Wallace?
No, Wallach.
Wallach. With W.
And I can get him on your show, John. He's a friend.
Oh, really? Greg, man, I love you, man. Robbie, I'm loving you now too, bro. You guys are definitely putting it together. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is power, man.
Yeah.
This is power. So, Betta, Betta. Go to johnsalley.com. Check out the products that he has. And then also follow John Salley on TikTok at JohnSalley22 on TikTok, guys. Check him out.
Let's get it done.
John, you have not aged one bit, so I believe everything you're talking about.
Yeah, I put this fake gray hair there because I didn't want people to realize Pharrell and I was from the same planet. So I put the gray hair just to throw them off a little bit. Definitely.
Your daily diet, what does that consist of primarily?
I wake up, God willing, and the creek don't rise. And I drink about 24 ounces of room temperature water with Celtic sea salt and a little bit of baking soda. Okay. And I mix that together and I sip that until about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And then I eat, if I have, which I usually do, I have a complete quarter of a long watermelon, and I eat that with the seeds. I chew the seeds. I eat berries. Yeah. But see, that's the round one, right? So I would eat that entire watermelon.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know if you guys follow my man Shaka Bars. He used to have this thing that's really exotic fruit. And he's in the Congo right now trying to help all the people who are being taken over by the establishment for the cobalt and the lithium out of the ground, always doing great things. But I watched this guy do great things and have a great body and go into, so I started becoming more of a fruitarian, eating more and more fruits. I was watching 19 Keys and Brother Haki, I think I said it properly, and he was saying that.
They're deep.
And then I just started realizing I kind of eat green vegetables. I tried to not eat the kales anymore, and I'm eating lettuce, and I'm trying to have dandelion root, and I'm very conscious. Like I don't talk while I eat. So people say, hey, let's go have dinner. I go, good. I'm not going to talk. And they go, what? I go, now after I eat or before I eat, but while I'm eating, I eat with intention. Like I know I'm literally chewing. And I got this from the book called The Celestine Prophecy.
Oh, that's
when they were eating in their own private, and they're chewing, as Guru would say, 20, there it is. Well, you know what, Robbie, I'm hiring you, man. But as I eat, I literally am counting my chews. And it's almost like when you're doing yoga, right? And when you're doing yoga, getting in the stances are great. Once you get used to getting in the stances are great. But the other part is the breathing, right? That's what yoga means, breath. So the more I'm breathing when I'm doing yoga, the better it is for me. The deeper the breaths, the more the lung I'm using, the more of the oxygen I'm getting into my cells, the more of the free radical cells being put out of my body, the more I'm helping my lymphatic system. So once I'm eating that, I didn't take a handful because I'm bigger than everybody else. So I take 2 handfuls of pumpkin seeds because I know they kill parasites. And I chew them till it's almost a paste. So as opposed to just making it a paste, I make my mouth. I use the saliva in my mouth. I let my brain know that I'm sending in artillery. I take walnuts. One of my daughters is allergic to walnuts, so she can't have it. I take the walnuts. I soak them overnight. I eat them. This great friend of mine, Karen, who you might know her from Chicago, and Karen had this book out called Soak Your Nuts. And I love the name of the book. And
that's such a great name.
Right,
that's awesome.
Soak Your Nuts. And I was like, yeah, lady, you know me. But anyway, that's the important thing, showing how you break down your legumes if you're going to eat them. If you're going to eat beans, you got to soak them. If you're going to eat chickpeas, you got to soak them. Like just grabbing them and eating them and saying, here we go, that's not how it is. You got to soak them. So knowing this and explaining how the system works is what I'm doing. I'm learning every day. But I eat all that fruit. And then I take Better Belly, 5 nights on, 2 nights off. I got another drink called the Haha Juice, made by my friend Megan Brophy. You can check her out on Instagram too. What that is aloe with, and I'm a vegan that eats honey. That's a whole nother conversation. But I literally climb on top of the mountain with and one of the things is I make this with a distillant. Megan makes it sometime. I make it. Literally when people were having situations during the lockdown, the reset, I'm not going to mention the name of the thing that everybody thought they were getting. There was a great newscaster, I'm not going to say his name, Stephen A. Smith, who I sent him the product. My coach, Ted Gustis, they couldn't breathe. They had it in their brain, death. I overnighted them the product. I told Stephen to take it. I told Ted Gustis to take it. 15 minutes later, take it again. Steve called and told everybody that I'm going to tell everybody you got the cure. I don't have the cure. I just have things that help your body fight pathogens, carcinogens, free radical cells.
Yep.
And I'm not letting this information die. And that's why I know Dr. Wallach. I read his book. I bought his product. Like, that's how crazy it was. I usually don't. I sit back and I go, I can make that. I bought his product because he knew, and he was explaining things. He was explaining why the pharmaceutical world has gotten us away from, oh, that's too much salt. You need low sodium. You don't need table salt. You need sea salt. You need sea salt. And you need it in your water because it has potassium. It has calcium. It has doesn't have as much selenium that you need. You need you need these things to help with your kidneys, especially if you're going to drink some tequila. You're going to have to, because I'm not telling you to be pristine. That's not life. I smoke the best weed, Deuces 22. You know what I'm saying? I smoke my own weed. that my daughter makes. You know what I'm saying? If my daughter makes Deuces 22, I support. I don't get high on my own supply. I get high on her supply. No. But if you're going to do these kind of things, you got to hydrate your body. You got to make sure that you're counteracting when your body doesn't react to it. So these are the things that's one thing. And I stretch. I do yoga. One of my favorite basketball players, I usually don't watch, but Joe Johnson has ISO Joe. He's starting his own yoga spot in Atlanta. I've been doing it because I've been doing yoga since that's funny, in the late 1900s. I started doing yoga, and I did this with my friend. We did Yoga Flavor, and she did a DVD, and I was doing it all the way back then. It's kind of the reason why you say I don't age, is because I don't add things to this already perfect avatar that the universe has given me. I don't stress it. Just like you clean your car on Saturday and get your hair cut is the way I take care of this body. When you buy your shoes, you make sure your clothes are pressed. That's everything outside of this avatar. I take care of this avatar, and then I put the good stuff on it. So that's kind of how I got to it. So it's all going to be on the show, on the Better Life show, and I'm living example of the life I live. Now, anything can happen. I could leave this planet tomorrow, right? And people are going to talk sugar honey iced tea about it. But while I was here, I didn't have any pains. And my back is not hurting like it used to. My knees don't hurt. My feet don't hurt. My penis still works. It's all those kind of things, which I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of women, if you're watching, don't realize that men, erectile dysfunction is real.
Yeah.
It's the same as menopause. That's the way I look at it, right? When you stop having the ability to make babies, men stop having the ability to make babies when they shouldn't. And nobody should. I just saw it the other day. A lady 61 years old is now pregnant. They showed a lady in India is pregnant at 72. Dr. Sebi wound up having a baby late in life too. So when I realized that, I realized none of this has to break down. We just have to figure out how to keep it going, how to make sure your garage is like Jay Leno's garage with all those wonderful cars, or like, you know what I'm saying? They got these wonderful garages taking care of the cars, but people don't take care of themselves. I'm trying to make sure that I can.
No, and I think it's such a simple concept, right?
Yeah.
It's like you are what you eat, right? It's that simple. Yeah. But what's not simple is this understanding what we're getting at the grocery store and what this mass production food. And I was listening just the other day. Who was the guy's name? You would know him. Anyway, they were just talking about how this all happened, because what happened, they were trying to solve the problem of mass food production. Yeah. Right? It's like, hey, we have this growth of humanity. We have to mass produce food. 1, 2, we want it to taste good. And so by them trying to solve a problem from a business perspective, they've created this health challenge for every single person that doesn't take the time of day to figure out what the hell they're putting in their body.
Correct.
Yeah, part of that is this. They kept talking about, they also not just wanted to figure out how to feed the masses, because they can feed the masses with no problem. They were figuring out how to feed the masses and become rich off of it.
Yeah.
So we have enough land on this planet to have organic foods, but it was important that somebody then try to buy all the seeds so they can be in charge of all the food. So the blessing we have, us three, Robbie, you're in California, eh?
I'm in Georgia. I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got the DeKalb farmers market that I go to all the time, and they got organic foods there. And it's funny, when you go there, you feel every African that ever come into America that's in Atlanta works there, because they hire people that understand what it is like to have organic food.
100%.
Greg and I are here in Southern California. There are 560 farmer markets, right? 560. I have 7 farmers from Northern California that drive down. I know what I'm getting. I've been getting it from them for 20 years. So I know where my fruit's coming from. I know where the cucumbers are coming from. when something's out of season, they say it's out of season. I don't fight it. I know right before I had it where I was growing. I was buying sprouts. Now I got Doug Evans showing me how to grow sprouts. So that's the most powerful, nutritionally dense food on the planet. That's what I'm getting into now, right? I'm constantly trying to improve myself. And I did a documentary that didn't come out. I own it now. I have all the pieces together. It's called The Missing Piece. I got to go to India to meet the Dalai Lama.
Wow.
I'm in Dharamsala. I'm sitting there realizing we're at the base of the Himalayas. So I said on the documentary, I'm one of the only players in the Himalayas, for real, right? And I'm paying attention that I'm from Brooklyn. Bayview Projects, well, called Bayview Houses, all the way on the far coast. And now I'm in the palace of the Dalai Lama. And I wasn't looking at it like, you know who I think I am. I literally looked at myself and said, do you know who you are? Now that you got all the way here, you can't take this for granted. Because my best friends got murdered before I was 25. Look at the blessing as I'm in the Himalayas playing with kids that made it across from Tibet all the way there. And I pay attention. That's why when people see me, they say, well, you're so nice. It's because I realize how much of a gift it is for me to be here. And if I could be in a position where I play with Isaiah Thomas, I play with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Bill Laimbeer, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen. I played with some of the greatest, against the greatest, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, some of the greatest players to ever play. Steve Smith. I'm just going to name all my friends now. But I'm here talking to you guys.
Right. No, exactly.
Why
you're such a gracious individual.
Yeah, why would I be shitty? Like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, and I got to pass the blessings on.
That's powerful.
And so all the stuff I've learned, when I see a young guy playing basketball, if I feel like it, and there's a couple of guys will tell you, I said, I'll show you one move to make it into the NBA. Guys go, oh, you bullshitting. Then you talk to Chris Webber, and Chris Webber was going to make it regardless of me. But I said, this one move is going to make it in there. Chris Webber did it his entire career. Made $85 million. I didn't get a dime. But this one guy, Arnie Hershkowitz, taught me to move. Little fat Jewish guy living out in Queens. And then I had another Jewish guy named Barney Davis, who just passed, God rest his soul, in February. He showed me fundamentals. I had Ted Gustis, who added to the fundamentals. I had Jerry Perlmutter, who helped me in high school and had the conversation with all the coaches when I was going. All these people helped me get to this point. Arnie, who else do I need to name? I don't need to name it, but all of these people gave me an opportunity. I'm a skinniest kid from Bayview Houses. They go, oh, this kid thinks he's going to be a pro. After winning 4 championships, I still see them and hug them and talk to them like I'm still that skinny kid from the houses. I said, well, I knew I was going to be a pro. I told everybody I was going to be a pro. But I'm not like, what? I'm going to show you. I just did it. The best revenge is living well, not bragging about it.
Exactly. No, you're so gracious, and I say thank you for allowing us to interview you and being a part of this, because this is a blessing to us, and it's a blessing to everyone listening, to everyone we're going to share it with. And even from the day I met you, right? When I met you, I'm like, oh my, because I'm a basketball nut. I never played basketball, but I coach basketball. My daughter, and my kids, and I saw you, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I was like starstruck, and it's like, I've admired you because of all your accomplishments, and now even more so with what you're doing, I want to help support what you're doing. And I believe what Zig Ziglar taught me in 1982, helping the people get what they want, and you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
So that's why we always come out with a giving attitude, and you're like that too. So we want to say thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bless up. Yeah, Zig Ziglar. Remember I tried to buy that company.
Really?
Yeah. Remember my boy, they bought it in, it was like, I wanted all of, he was him and Reverend Ike.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
Reverend Knight, dude, I love Reverend Knight.
I love and I was a Jehovah's Witness. My mother did not like that I listened to Reverend Knight. And she was like, I said, Ma, he ain't preaching what y'all are preaching. Y'all are preaching, everybody's preaching to keep you at a level, right? This guy is trying to teach you to go to the next level. And I loved Reverend Knight. I did. I loved Reverend Knight. I got to be friends with, there's another person, Little Richard. I got to become friends with Little Richard. Now, I say this because Little Richard would be on TV and everybody would have something to say. He was the first to come out of the closet with no problem, right? He talked about his father kicked him out of his house because he was gay. Then he said, "Yo, I'm not gay anymore." And they were like, "Oh my God, how you gonna do that?" Just seeing, and then I met him in his older, just seeing Richard saying, "I live this life, this life, this life, and this life." And I was like, wow, I can be friends with people who are gay and not be gay. And they were like, of course you can. Yeah, you say that now. But then look at people who are uncomfortable. I was never uncomfortable. I knew the more gay guys, the more women for me. So I never had a problem. And all the cute girls hang around the gay guys. So, hey, you better be friends with him. You better be nice to him. He's gonna talk on your behalf later.
The girls were not threatened by the gay guys.
They're not. And so I sat down and I realized I could be everywhere and not be a part of anything. I can, as the Bible says, I can be in the world but not of it.
Ooh, you speaking my language.
Yeah. So I decided to, and then I used to try to run around from. I got to become very cordial to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Minister Farrakhan, and I was in his presence, and I love the way he speaks. I love how he gets the point across, and how he makes us so proud to be black, and how he's about us. And I sat there, I said, how do I take all of these things I've learned and use it in our benefit? And this is how. As long as you don't look down on somebody else, as long as like you can have Jewish pride, you can have Jewish bond for Israel. Why can't we have African bonds for Africa, right? And why can't we have this without feeling it's going to be, this is a roundabout, so I'm doing this great. Why can't we have togetherness without it being negative? That's Earn Your Leisure. Those guys from Earn Your Leisure have figured out how to put us together without there being a fight, without there being a gunshot, without there be all the things we believe happen when we get together. Earn Your Leisure, that's not happening. And it's not about money. It's about wealth. Now, I believe health is wealth. They believe wealth is wealth. So he put us all together. Some people believe real estate is wealth. Some people believe investing is wealth. What it does is it helps us all get together to help us all together. Yeah, and if you don't want to be helped by us, you don't have to. That's just the way it is. So that's why when I was at Earn Your Leisure this weekend, pay for our own way. Steve Harvey didn't get paid. Diddy wound up giving $1 million as opposed to taking $1 million. Like, for him to show up, you got to pay him $250,000 to be in a place. Right. Diddy's coming. He bought them a check because it's enough of hurting us. Like right now, it's the 50-year hip hop, and the people in Florida, Trick Daddy, and Luke, they weren't represented as a Florida group in this 50-year hip hop. Not with Nas up in New York. And I sat around and I go, as opposed to complaining, or they should have voiced it. Who missed that? Who missed the opportunity for that to happen? Well, now we know, just like in the NBA, when certain people were let out, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to have a group before the 75. Before the 75 years of hip hop happened, there should be a whole year of who is involved, who wants to be there. My man Willie D from Ghetto Boys, who started the Ghetto Boys, wasn't on stage. I was mad, but Willie addressed it on his show, because I watch his show Crazy with Scarface, who was invited, and they got past all that. They didn't get past it. They got it out what happened. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff we need to do within our community. And as much as I can help and where I can help, I do. If I can't, I step away. You know, if you don't listen to what you don't believe, I'm like Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z said, if you're not, understanding or liking what I'm talking about, you know what? Pay me no mind. It costs you nothing.
Right. Hey, John,
costs you nothing.
Let me know if I can help you out anyway, man. I'm here for it. Whatever your move you have going on. I'm
okay, y'all heard that. You heard that.
Yeah, we heard it. We got it. We got it on tape. And you know what that reminds me of? A term that I was taught years and years ago called cooperative capitalism. Wow. It's like this idea of competitive capitalism is you're a realtor, I'm a realtor, we got to go compete against each other. No, let's cooperate together. There's enough in the world for everybody. And get rid of that scarcity mentality, and let's live in the world of abundance, because God is raining down more than any of us can consume or handle. And kind of what you just said, I really want to know more about that, because I love that cooperative capitalism, that kind of mindset of, working together in every different parts of the thing, and everyone has their genius. And I always tell people, if it's not your genius, it's not your job, right? You need to work with people that they have taken their life to master a particular skill. And to me, it's digital marketing and branding and that kind of stuff. And it's like, but it's not in other places. So let me do what I'm good at, and let's let other people do what they're good at.
Yeah. That John Mackey, he and Walter Robb, who started Whole Foods, he wrote a book called A Conscious Capitalist.
Oh. Yeah.
Right?
That's what conscious capitalism, yeah.
You can be conscious.
John, I know John. I did a bunch of stuff with John, and he's a little snarky. He's a little snippety guy, that guy. Hey, he is, I'm telling you, man.
When they give you $8 billion for a company, when Amazon buys you out, he's different to me. I would not be seen. Let me tell you something. You give me that, though, y'all would have to come to an island it'd be all kind of military boats. I said, what's happening? Yeah, he's on the island naked by himself again. That's what would happen if I had $8 billion. I always say that too, man. I always say, Greg, when white folks get rich, they go camping. How y'all go camping? You just leave your mansion and go camping? What the hell?
Yeah, I got to tell you a dumb white boy story about myself. Because you mentioned Louis Farrakhan. So do you remember when Michael Jackson got all the accusations that first came out? At that time, I was doing business with the Jacksons, me and Joe Jackson and Jermaine, and I was really, really good friends with this guy named Majestic Magnificent, which he was Muhammad Ali's personal magician. Then he became Michael Jackson's magician. Anyway, we were doing business. Then that whole thing blew up, everything. And then they had the Jackson Family Honors, right?
Right.
And so this is interesting that you'll kind of relate to this more than anybody else, but when they invited me to come to Jackson Family Honors, and I was with Kate Jackson, and Kate assigned bodyguards to me, and I could not go anywhere. We were at the MGM going all around, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the restroom, and they wouldn't let me go to the restroom. I'm like, look, no one knows who I am. Like, you don't have to worry about me. It's like, no, Miss Kate said, so I experienced that little mob of, people following you around. But anyway, we're in this, and we're at rehearsal. And there's Gladys Knight, and there's Celine Dion, and there's all these people, and there's only 3 or 4 people in the audience, me being the only white guy. And I'm sitting in the row, and I look down the row, and there's a guy sitting with the suit. You could just tell that suit was a $10,000 suit, and he had the gold on, and he had the $2,000 shoes. And this is like, back in the days when that Jackson Family Honors came out. I don't remember what year it was, but it was a long time ago. I'm like, I got to go meet that guy. So I walk up to this guy, and I go, hey, my name's Greg. What's your name? And he looks at me like, and he wouldn't shake my hand, and just looked at me. I said, no, my name's Greg. What's your name? He goes, Louis Farrakhan Jr. And I'm like, excuse me? He says, Louis Farrakhan Jr. Wow. And it was kind of loud and a little music, and I said, excuse me, pardon me? I'm sorry. Louis Farrakhan Jr. And I'm like, nice to meet you, Mr. Farrakhan. What do you do? Oh, just enough about that time Majestic sees me and he starts giving me this, going, cut it, stop, what are you doing? And like, I'm just talking to the guy, looked like he was pretty good for himself. He's like, do you know who that was? I go, yeah, it's Louis Farrakhan Jr. He goes, do you know who that is? I'm like, no.
You know, it's so funny when you say that. Like, people walk up to me and they go, well, everybody's coming around you taking pictures, so I guess I'll take a picture. But well, what's your name? And I go, Michael Jordan. And they go, no. I go, well, you don't know my name, so I could be Michael Jordan and just not Michael Jordan. And they go, well, what did you do? I said, I did porn in the 80s. That's probably why your husband knows me. And they were like, I'm going to have fun with it. If you don't know, I'm going to give you something to know. In one of my realities, maybe I did, but in this one, you're gonna think that I met this porn star. Here, take a picture of him. That's John Salley. Definitely. All right, everybody, follow me on TikTok, John Salley 22.
Here it is. It's right here. I'm gonna put it in the comment section for everybody. There it is.
Look it up.
There it is.
All right, let's wrap it up, man. So I want to say thank you. Be blessed with everything you do. I want to follow up with you the next day or two.
Yes.
Appreciate you so much. And for everyone else out there watching, you have to do two things for me. You have to wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude, and you have to tell somebody you love them, and I promise you'll have a better day.
Absolutely.
Bless up. Bless up.
Everybody.
Deuces.
All right, John.
All right, Ron.
Hey, Greg.
Peace.